never order these 4 fishes at a restaurant. Are you one of the millions that orders fish when you go out to eat because you think you're being heart healthy? Hi. This is Dr. Sam Walters. With 114,000 fatal heart attacks in the USA alone each year, I appreciate you trying to avoid one by trying to eat something that is supposed to be good for you. Shockingly, the fish found in almost every restaurant is far from what you want to be eating. If you're concerned about the health of your heart, and having a heart attack, this will be the most important thing for you today. I am not only going to expose the 4 fish to never order anytime you visit a restaurant, but also going to reveal the heart healthiest fish on planet Earth. Whether you eat these fish at home, or like to order them when eating out, in my medical opinion, you should avoid these as much as possible. The first fish to never eat is tilapia. For years, tilapia was promoted by the health and fitness industry as a fantastic fish. But they couldn't be more wrong. In fact, tilapia is one of the worst fish you can ever eat. Tilapia contains very few healthy omega-3 fatty acids, which is the #1 reason to eat fish in the first place. The concentration of harmful fats in tilapia is almost as high as in lard. Tilapia is not recommended for those who have heart diseases, asthma or arthritis. But there's another reason to stay away from tilapia. Most of the tilapia we eat doesn't really live and grow in the wild. It's all farmed. 5% of tilapia is farmed in the United States while 95% of them is farmed outside the US, in countries which don't have the same fishing standards as the US. Most tilapia are farmed in extremely bad conditions. For example, it's common for tilapia to spend their entire lives in very small bodies of water. And since they're packed so tight, they live in their own filth and very often they eat their own feces. So the farmers throw in huge amounts of antibiotics so they can survive. Which then trickles down into our system. So in short, avoid tilapia at all costs. The second is mackerel. Mackerel contains mercury which accumulates in the human body. And it's very hard to get rid of. In fact, it takes 12 to 18 months for mercury to leave our body. Since the Industrial Revolution, more and more mercury has been polluted into the oceans. The mercury then poisons the fish and enters our body when we eat fish. And fish like mackerel are especially high in mercury. It can have a devastating impact on your health, specifically contributing to heart disease. Make you feel like total garbage. They cause issues within your muscle tissues, making you feel weak. So mackerel is definitely one to stay away from. Third to avoid is sea bass. Sea bass is another fish which contains a lot of mercury. But here's the real problem with sea bass in restaurants. Sometimes, especially when it's served as fillet. Instead of sea bass, you get a fish called pangasius, which is much cheaper for restaurants to use. This is a real problem, because most pangasius that we see in our stores is brought from Vietnam. Specifically from the Mekong River, which is considered one of the most contaminated bodies of water in the world. Even worse, pangasius contains an elevated level of nitrofurazone and polyphosphates, also known as carcinogens. This type of fish isn't recommended for food, at all. And since it's so often served instead of sea bass, I highly recommend you stay away from it. The fourth fish you should never eat is tuna. We all know that tuna contains lots of mercury, which is terribly unhealthy for your heart. Especially bluefin and blackfin tuna. But in addition, full-grown tuna is almost impossible to find. Because wild-caught tuna is almost extinct. Almost all tuna comes from farms, where they have poor living conditions. And the fish are fed with antibiotics and hormones. When you eat tuna, those hormones and antibiotics end up wreaking havoc inside of your body. Now, if you absolutely must eat tuna, then I highly recommend you choose is yellowfin caught in American waters. It's the healthiest kind of tuna. And it doesn't have as much in terms of heavy metals. What is the heart-healthiest fish you should eat? The heart-healthiest fish you should eat is not salmon, anchovies, sardines, or cod. In fact, it's none of the usual suspects at all. It's the one fish that every person worried about heart attacks needs to know about. This weird little fish contains more of a heart-protecting super nutrient than any other fish on Earth. It was discovered during a 32,000-person study conducted by Harvard University that those with the most of this newly discovered compound in their bloodstream had the healthiest hearts and the lowest risk of heart attacks. Again, my name is Dr. Sam Walters. I am going to share all the potentially life-saving information with you about a daily ritual I teach my patients. The benefit of doing this one thing each day takes only about 7 seconds. This was featured in a Harvard Health study, where they analyzed over 32,000 patients and found it to be the one thing people with the healthiest hearts share. I'll tell you all about it, but before then let me share with you the truth about a couple dangerous heart health myths you'll want to avoid. For foods you should never eat, if you want to avoid a heart attack. The 4 foods I'll be sharing are foods normally marketed as heart healthy. Each of these are thought to be healthy foods. But if you take a closer look, you'll realize that's not exactly true, especially for your heart. The first item on the list is vegetable oil. Vegetable oils are bad for your heart, because they contain dangerous levels of polyunsaturated fats that overwhelm your body, leading to inflammation and cell damage. This contributes to everything from heart disease and Alzheimer's, to skin issues, premature aging, slower metabolism, lower energy, and so on. Instead, I recommend something more natural and stable, like coconut oil. The second is turkey bacon. Compared to traditional pork bacon, you might be surprised to learn that turkey bacon contains similar levels of fat and sodium, 2 of the bad guys that put you at greater risk of heart disease. Also, just like regular bacon, turkey bacon is still a processed meat. And that means it's loaded with nitrate and nitrites, which Harvard Health and the Mayo Clinic said can increase your risk of heart disease and even diabetes. You don't have to give bacon up completely, but as with anything else, moderation is important. I recommend trying to get a bacon that's been naturally cured with sea salt, which doesn't contain additives, and preferably comes from organic pork. The third food to avoid is margarine. Margarine is a myth, because it contains high levels of trans fats that raise your LDL, the bad form of cholesterol, and lower your HDL, the good kind. You may stick with butter, but don't get the heavily processed stuff. Try switching to grass-fed butter, which has higher amounts of heart-healthy nutrients like CLA, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin K2. The last food to avoid is whole grain cereals. Generally speaking, these cereals are not truly from whole grains, so they have little nutritional value to begin with. And then they're loaded up with other additives, such as genetically modified corn starch, sugar, sodium, and TSP. The sodium level alone, which is more than double the calorie amount, makes them unhealthy for your heart. I recommend oatmeal made from steel-cut oats, which contain an excellent amount of fiber, protein, and iron that are good for your body and heart. Not only are the alternatives I mentioned better for you, they taste better too, and who wouldn't want that? However, as good as they taste, they do not provide the most important nutrients for your heart, and that's where my 7-second tip comes in. The missing omega. It's the first and most important step I've personally discovered to protect the heart and restore your health, and even increase it beyond anything you've ever experienced. And it takes just 7 seconds in the morning to do. So now what's the secret? I call it the missing omega. Although the word omega or omega-3 might be familiar to you, the missing omega is not something you can get by grabbing a random fish oil, krill oil, or Coke 10 formula. Limited amount of the missing omega is available at any given time, but fish oil manufacturers aren't willing to sacrifice their profits for the hefty expense of including it. Instead, you only get the two more common omega-3s, known best by their initials, EPA and DHA. The missing omega is the one omega that omega researchers have found to be the most beneficial for reducing the risk of heart attack and stroke. It's also the specific omega that's responsible for shutting off excess inflammation in your body. Inflammation, which is a root cause of increased body fat and lack of energy, joint pain, brain fog, Alzheimer's and many other issues. This is why you need the missing omega. It's so unique and beneficial to your heart, energy, and overall health. The missing omega works by influencing specific genes that regulate inflammation. Apart from helping to keep your energy levels, metabolism, and brain function, it also helps protect your heart by fighting against the formation of deadly blood clots, which is a common cause of heart attack and stroke. A recent Harvard University study analyzed the test results of over 30,000 participants. They discovered those who had increased amounts of the missing omega in their system also had better heart health than those who did not. Also, in a major Japanese study, the missing omega was found to be 10 times more effective than EPA. So what's this missing omega? Its name is DPA, and the best source is from wild-caught menhaden fish. Menhaden are bony little fish with really oily flesh. They are the only type of fish considered to be the most abundant source of DPA in the world. The missing omega is not like what's found in regular fish or krill oils. Studies have shown that fish oil, that's rancid or contaminated, can do the opposite of what you take it for, and also can contribute to blood clots and clogged arteries. It can also damage your body at the cellular level by contributing to chronic inflammation. And finally, rancid fish oil will get rejected by your body, because it has lost a lot of its omega-3 benefits, and your body cannot make those omega-3s on its own. Taking a rancid fish oil can lead to omega-3 deficiency, and omega-6 poisoning. There is something a lot of fish oil producers either don't do well, or not at all. This is because it's expensive and cuts into their profits. It's called molecular distillation, the process of refining the oil into an ultra-pure state. This is done by creating an extreme vacuum environment, where the omega-3 molecules are pulled away from any contaminants that might be present. Having the fish oil created from wild-caught menhaden and molecularly distilled offers several big benefits. First, the oil becomes so pure that it's almost impossible to find any contaminants present. Second, the oil becomes much more concentrated, so it takes far less oil and can be put into smaller, easy-to-swallow capsules. Finally, because the oil is so pure and having the missing omega helps your body absorb the omega-3s more efficiently, there's no more fish burps. This alone makes a wild-caught, DPA-rich menhaden fish oil the smarter choice. Other benefits are maintaining your heart health by promoting healthy blood pressure, cholesterol, triglyceride levels, healthy sex drive and reduced risk of deadly blood clots due to improved blood flow and circulation, better mood and mental well-being. On top of being a full-time practicing physician, I also serve as the lead medical advisor at Trove. I'm happy to tell you my team and I have succeeded far beyond what even we could have imagined. We're proud to have created a breakthrough nutritional formula, which is the absolute best source of all three omegas, and their benefits compared to the old fish oil and any other fish or krill oil on the market. So what's the name of your new fish oil? It's called Physio Omega. Physio Omega is a complete fish oil including the missing omega, so you can fully support your health and help protect your body against the damage inflammation can cause. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our latest videos and leave a like if you found this video helpful. Do not forget to check out the description below for useful links and additional information related to this video.